Good afternoon. My name is Scott Rowley, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Lab.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead.
观众朋友们，大家好，感谢您收看本期直击美股，我是主持人 Julie， 在华尔街向您问好。今天是5月9日，星期二。今天美股整体小幅高开。在法国总统大选结果出来之后，地缘政治风险降低，同时特朗普正在缓步推行税改计划。这一切利好消息都使得美股风险已经降到了自2006年12月份以来的最低水平。目前市场关注的焦点主要在于企业财报以及联储官员讲话。今天在收盘之后，迪士尼发布企业财报，营收是好于预期的。明天 Snap 以及丰田汽车将发布财报数据。星期四梅西百货将公布他们的公司财报。我们直击美股将为您持续关注这些公司的财报动向。联储官员今天发表讲话称，即使经济形势不如以往预期，他们依然将进行加息的这样一个举措。因此，市场普遍预测下一次加息很有可能将在6月份进行。纵观全球，今天欧洲股市整体上涨，亚洲股市涨跌交错。更多详细资讯，请关注今天的交易员访谈。Hi Scott, S&P 500 broke above 2,400 as you expected, and the volatility of the market is the lowest since December 2006. So what's your expectations of the next move?
Well, the market's been trying to break above it and hold above it today. It kind of kissed it, backed off. The indices are acting a little bit lethargic compared to some of the key stocks. So you have this push-pull where you have to be a bit more careful because it does feel like the indices are tired and the stock selection game is getting a little bit more narrow. So you always want to be a little bit more careful. If you look here at the S&P cash, doesn't mean it's the end of the world because we could not break above this with power. Sometimes it takes a few times. And we're still above the 8-day. We're still above the 21-day, which is down here. And look where we came from post-French election. So all in all, still strong, just not a lot of power. And in May, I hate to say it, there's just not a lot of power. So you want to be a little bit careful. At this point now, you have a new point of reference this morning from 23.92 that held. But as long as we stay above this zone, it could be choppy with a lot of different stock movement. And that's where traders are making their money, picking out the best stocks, not necessarily just concentrating on the indices.
The bull market is still intact, and we have very strong April job data. So what's their effect on the financials?
Financials, they're just like the S&P. They're kind of lethargic. Okay, what do I mean by lethargic? Well, on Friday with the solid jobs report, I feel like the financials should have blasted off, and they didn't. So if you have a longer-term view on them, that's okay. But if you're trading for short-term cash flow, you know what? Still can't get above the 21-day moving average in the XLF, which is a proxy for all the financials. So if you're long them, I think it's fine. Stay long them. If the XLF were to break below 23.55 to the downside, I would take a little bit more care. Then you have more of a macro support right here. So at this point, still going sideways, not very impressive, but also not falling apart. Just sometimes there's more action than at other times. Here's when the financials took off. Here the financials, took off. And now just a little bit quiet as they're trying to figure out if June there'll be a rate hike and whether the economic numbers are actually getting better for, more consistent yield.
Technology has been a lead sector since the beginning of this year. What's your expectations, and would you like to share with us some of your favorite stocks on go-to list?
Yes, and the go-to list is active. Since last Thursday, we talked about being long Apple post-earnings. So if you didn't take Apple long into earnings, there still was a great strategy thereafter. If you look here at Apple, let me show you why. We talked about on Thursday how you could buy Apple on the pullback, especially if it holds the 8-day moving average, which it did hold right here. Then on Friday, broke above this wedge type pattern. What's a wedge type pattern? It's a consolidation pattern before a new move. And then what did it do on Friday? Closed above all-time highs. And then you had follow through. So here, a little topping tail extended from the 8-day. So if you're an active trader, you get a little lighter just in case it wants to pull back a little bit. This morning I talked about Amazon. Amazon I did buy yesterday. Okay, thinking that it could break out. It did break above 941. It did get above this spot. I'm still long it. I'm not long Apple, but I'm long smaller just because, it had a little bit of a topping tail. Market came in a little bit, so I didn't want to have too much, but I do still think this can go higher. One of my favorite names that I've been going over in this call with my colleagues from China is not only Baidu, actually, which I'll get into, but Baba. Baba, we've been talking about pretty much since here, okay, when it broke above this descending trend line that it has a home above the all-time high above 120. This was last quarter's results, and this, remember, above the 821 day, you try and be long. Well, now it's back at 120 at all-time highs and looks higher. If you have an IRA and you like BABA, put it in the IRA, tuck it away for the next year. I think you could have a $150 stock. If you trade it actively, you had a big gap up. As long as it holds, I think if the futures are up, tomorrow you get a little bit of follow-through to the upside.
Thank you so much for your insights. I think that's all for today.
Yes, it is. And we'll have more tomorrow, so stay tuned and we'll find the action for you and hopefully keep making you money. Have a good night.
好了，以上就是本期节目的所有内容了，感谢您的收看，祝您交易顺利，我们下期节目再见。